Happy Friday, bananas and kiwis. This is Mrs. Weber. Now, as you may see on the screen, it is not Mrs. Weber. This is another teacher who is also teaching the same story that I was going to share with you guys today. However, the website is causing a lot of problems for me, and so after trying to record it several times, I'm going to share with you her recording and stop it at the talking points that I would typically talk at. So thanks to this teacher for sharing the story with us, and I will have some comprehension questions for you at the end. So try to visualize, try to keep the sequence of the story in your head, and I will stop to chat with you along the way. Here we go.
Special story I want to read to you guys, but first we need to go over your vocabulary words that you've been learning so that when I read the story, you can give me a twinkle when you hear those words. Okay. Our first word that we learned is vehicle. Vehicle. So a vehicle is an object used to move things or people from one place to another. So a vehicle, like a car, a boat, an airplane, a truck, a bus. Those are all vehicles that move people or move things. Okay, our next word is wide. When something is wide, it is big from one side to the other. Wide. It's like a wide river or a wide road that can fit lots of cars.
You guys can make the connection on that when we studied width, how wide something is. So our math can cross curricular with the word wide.
Okay, our next word is fierce. When something is fierce, it is very strong, like a very strong wind that's blowing through and knocks things over. So that's the word fierce. Okay, our next word is transportation. So transportation is the way we move from one place to another. So a bicycle is your transportation from your house to your neighbor's house. Or your car might be your parents' transportation from your house to their job. Or a bus might be our transportation from school to a field trip. So it's how you get from one place to another. And our last word is journey. So a journey is just a long trip that you might take. So like if your family decides to go to Disney World or Hawaii or somewhere really long way away, that would be a journey. Okay, I think we did all of them, guys. Are we ready to get started? Fierce, wide, okay, so we did them all. Okay, so our story that we're going to read is called The King of the Winds. So this is a story from the Odyssey. So it's a real book that maybe your parents might have read. And this is about a man named Odysseus. Okay?
Before she starts, I want you to think about that, the title, The King of the Winds. Could there be such a thing? We know that wind is part of nature. So is there a king of the wind? Could I be the queen of the wind? So would this story be fiction fake or non-fiction? Very good. It would be fiction fake. Here we go.
All right, let's get started. The King of the Winds. Once upon a time, a man named Odysseus traveled the world on a great adventure.
Okay, what form of transportation does Odysseus, here he is right here, does Odysseus use for his transportation? What does he use? Very good, a large ship or a large boat.
He and his men sailed the seas in a grand ship. One day, Odysseus and his men sailed to an island. The island was ruled by Aeolus, the king of the winds. Aeolus proudly welcomed Odysseus and his men. You are welcome here, my brave travelers. Please stay in my city. So Odysseus and his men stayed on the island. He told Aeolus, the king of the winds, about his long journey on the ocean. Eventually, Odysseus was ready to return home.
Okay, so right now he lands on the island. He meets the king of the winds, as we see him right here. And after meeting, they decide that they've spent enough time on the island, they're going to return home. I want you to think, what is the setting in the beginning of this story? Very good. If you said the ocean or the sea, very good.
I have been away from my family for a very long time, he told the King of the Winds. To help Odysseus get home, the King of the Winds decided to give Odysseus a wonderful gift. What do you think that gift might be?
Okay, share with somebody. What do you think the King of the Winds is going to give Odysseus and his men? Predictions, predictions. Share with somebody. What kind of gift?
Any guesses? Let's see. The King of the Winds handed Odysseus a plain bag. Odysseus watched as the King of the Winds filled the bag with many stormy and noisy winds.
Fill the bag with stormy winds and noisy winds. Is that possible? I guess it could be. You could catch some wind in a bag. Let's think about this.
He used his great strength to tie the top tightly with a string so none of the bad winds could escape. I have put all of the bad winds into this bag, said the King of the Winds. Now they will not bother you on your way home.
Okay, how would winds bother Odysseus and his men on the way home? How could wind cause them a problem? If you inferred that the wind could cause a struggle with the ship or boat, you are on the right track. Good thinking, my friends.
Good luck on your long journey. Thank you, said Odysseus as he took the bag. Since our transportation is a sailing ship, it will be much easier to travel without terrible winds blowing us in different directions. So Odysseus went back to the ship. His men prepared the ship to sail away from the island. Everyone on the island waved goodbye to Odysseus. Then the King of the Winds used a good wind to blow Odysseus and his ship toward home.
Now, boys and girls, the author in this book is using personification. They are making the wind have human characteristics, calling bad wind, good wind, fierce wind. So they are making the wind seem like it's a human being, although it's not. And we've talked about that before. It's a figurative language called personification. When you make something that's not human seem human.
Sounds like it's going pretty good. Let's see what happens.
So right now in the story, the bad winds are all tied up in that satchel, in that bag. And the King of the Winds is saying goodbye to Odysseus and his men as they voyage home. That's the plan.
Odysseus and his men sailed for 9 days. The gentle winds helped push their sea vehicle slowly and safely across the water. On the 10th day, Odysseus could see land from the ship. Soon they would be home with their families. We are almost home at last, he told his men. Our ship should reach land soon. Since Odysseus was tired from the long journey, he decided to take a short nap. But his men were not so sleepy. They looked curiously at the big bag
And you can already infer what is going to happen. You're using your picture clues. They're looking at the bag and they're curious. What are they going to do?
Odysseus had carried onto the ship. I want to see what is in the bag, said one sailor. I bet it's filled with gold and silver. We should have some of that treasure for ourselves. Then one of the men ripped open the bag. Odysseus heard a loud noise and quickly woke up. He saw the opened bag and the sailor staring at the angry winds rushing out of it.
Okay, angry winds. These are the angry winds rushing out. Now, moving forward, we're going to stop the story here. I'm going to give you some questions to answer, and we're going to move on from that, and I will post the ending of our story later. So, where is the setting? Who is the main character? What was their form of transportation? What did the King of the Winds give Odysseus? What will happen after the men open this bag and the angry winds are released? What is going to happen? Now remember, these men and Odysseus are on their voyage home. They've said goodbye to the island people. They've said goodbye to the King of the Winds, and they are already on their voyage. They had traveled for 10 days. Okay, good luck to you. I will post the ending of this later. I want to see what your predictions are. You guys are so smart, and good luck. I will also post all these questions again.